to see her struggle with the chemo and like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I feel this way, I feel that way. I'm just not well. As a parent, you're like, you got to go through it. There's nothing, you're so used to as a parent fixing things and taking care of things, especially something that hurts your child. And here you can't do anything. You're at the mercy of doctors and medicine and science. And you just have to sit there and hold her hand, support her, get her cups of ice and water, and just tell her you're gonna be okay.
I'm Isabella Strahan. When I was 19, I was diagnosed with medulloblastoma, which is a brain tumor. I hadn't felt my best for maybe the month of October, but I feel like I went into the ER on the 25th of October. I was there for like maybe 9 hours, but they never saw me. So I just made a private appointment, and then I went there. She sent me to get an MRI. And they're like, oh. She was like, go straight to the emergency room. And I didn't know what was wrong, but everyone else did. So I knew something might have been up because Sophia texted me, love you. And I was like, huh. Because she doesn't say that. What? So I was like,
It's out of the blue.
something. Yeah, it was just out of the blue.
I was just
and I was
feeling
like,
sentimental.
So, and I was in California, so it was like kind of just me there, because I go to USC. But it was interesting. My doctor came and told me, you're gonna have to get brain surgery. Then I met with my brain surgeon. I was like, oh, yay, brain surgery. Like, I'll be back in 2 days. I was not back in 2 days. So I think it was more just, I don't think I understood at the time how severe it would be.
It was shocking. I think anybody expected. And we were here in New York getting ready to actually go to California a few days later, and got the call from the doctor that she had a brain tumor and that we should get to California as soon as possible. And of course, when you hear something like that, it's like, are you sure? And especially knowing Isabella and knowing that she was sick and nauseous and throwing up and lethargic, but that's the least thing. They were like, oh, it's vertigo. It's all these other things. And it was shocking. It put you in a state of panic as a parent. So we scrambled to do everything we could to get to LA immediately. And that happened on October 27th. And on her birthday, on October 28th, the next day, she had surgery. So there was the 4-centimeter tumor. And they said, well, no need for a second opinion. We should just go in.
I don't think I was afraid. I remember, I think I posted something on my close friend's story. I was like, I have to get brain surgery tomorrow. And then I was taking videos of myself like kicking my feet in the hospital, like, oh, this is so fun. I just don't think I understood, but I don't think I was nervous.
I think it's the optimism.
Yeah.
Like we kind of we're optimistic. Like, okay, you're gonna make it through. You're gonna get through it. And yeah, we get there, and she's just like, oh yeah,
hey guys,
okay. Hey, good to see you. We'll be through this in a few days, and we're just in shock and just trying to encourage her, but knowing it was gonna be a tough haul.
I remember like getting to the hospital. I got there like 30 minutes before her surgery maybe. And I walk in, she's like smiling, like taking like selfies with her little brain things on. Her like friends from school show up and they're all just like hanging out. And I like expected it to be like much more of like a sad atmosphere, like especially just like coming into like, obviously like I had so many emotions, like not being able to see her before then, but she was like so positive, it really like surprised me.
So after my initial surgery, that was on October 27th, I went to rehab for, I think I left California the beginning of November, maybe like November 5th. And then I headed to New York, or Duke and then New York, and I started my fertility treatments in like beginning of November, and I had my like egg retrieval on Thanksgiving last year. I think my doctors definitely recommended it.
Yeah, they recommended it.
Yeah, because I think it was just the safest, smartest thing for me to do if I could, and I didn't love the process. It's definitely not fun. Yeah, she's laughing because I like would
We used to
cry
have to
every
like
night
chase
getting the
her
shots.
around the house with like the injections.
Having the shots, getting the injections, but the doctors recommended it just to be safe. And they let her know, though, it's not like you can't get pregnant the old-fashioned way, but this is just a way to ensure that you have your eggs and You know, if you want to have children in the future, that's definitely a possibility.
Like a safety policy,
yeah,
insurance
but as a
policy.
parent, they're kind of like fertility treat. She's like 19 years old. Like, what are we talking about here? Egg retrieval. But I'm glad she did it. I think it gives her more peace of mind.
It does,
And
yes.
yeah, it definitely a lot of things I think shocked all of us. You realize that you go through, and this is something I think none of us never even thought we would ever experience. And unfortunately we had to, and unfortunately a lot of other people have to as well.
This is a big bag of chemo, a big bag of drugs. So after I finished radiation, had my original surgery and stuff, I started chemotherapy, I think the first week in February. And so I had 4 rounds. Originally it was supposed to be 6. And I was so happy when they told me I only had to do 4. But my whole chemo journey, like the first round of chemo, it was pretty rough. And then I found out I had a head infection from my first surgery. So they had to take my skull out, replace it. And then I got my second round of chemo. And then they found out my scar was also infected again. So I had to have a third head surgery. And then the last 2 rounds were actually not as bad because I also stopped one of my chemo drugs, which was the one that was like the hardest. But I think the last round of chemotherapy, I was just so excited that it was the last one. I was like, it doesn't even count. Like I was just so optimistic to finish.
But I feel like it was definitely a different experience from like radiation too, just like with the different side effects and everything. But she actually got to do her chemotherapy treatments at Duke, which is where I go to school. So it was really nice to like be able to go like do my homework in the hospital, like sit with her throughout the day. Whereas like if she'd gone somewhere else, like obviously I would have like visited, but it's definitely like hard to be there as much as you want to be when you're also like in school. I mean, it was definitely tough, like being there while she was like going through the treatments and kind of just wanting to be as comforting as possible, but like knowing that there's really not much you can do to make her feel better in those times, and it's just kind of something that you have to push through. But I think honestly she handled it all like so well, handled it with like a lot of grace, and I know that especially the week after was especially tough for her, and I was really happy like the 2 times I know I got to be there with her at home after a few rounds of chemo, and I don't know, I think that was really special too.
Yeah. I don't know how she did it. I was struggling myself with it. So I always say she's a lot stronger than I am.
Like I honestly, like I definitely wasn't prepared for like how intense like the recovery process was. Like
Yeah.
there's just like so much that goes like wrong, even though everything went so well with your surgery. Like there's just things that you need to work back up to. Like
walking?
her left side
Walking.
didn't work very well. She couldn't like open her eyes. She couldn't walk. She couldn't really eat on her own. And you don't really like expect that. I wasn't expecting that, and it was really like a whole process of just like relearning how to like do things, and it really did like take a while. Like I would always like push the wheelchair behind her as she like would take steps in like the hallway, and like we found things that she like liked to eat.
The focus again.
She had to like, she wore these glasses and we had to put like tape
Tape
over
on one side.
One
Yeah.
eye is looking into the yonder, and the other eye is looking straight at you, and it's like,
It was a little
Which one do
unnerving.
I look at?
yeah, it was like, so to see all these things that they do to correct her vision to get everything
Yeah.
back in alignment, and then walking again, eating again, talking again. Like all these things were like, wow. But I will say through it all, she was a champ. And she had a family, of course, but she had amazing friends from her school, her roommates and just her friends who showed up every day, somebody's there. And they're like bringing energy and helping her through it.
And even like I know for like right after my surgery, I was not like awake, and it was nice to see like photos of my friends or my roommates who were just like sitting over me. I wasn't talking, but I think that was sweet just to have a good support system.
There were times where she got emotional about it and it kind of hit her, but I wouldn't say that you were depressed. I think that there were some depressing moments that you had,
Yeah.
but I think overall, one of the things that she said to me one time, probably the hardest thing I ever had to hear was, you know, Dad, I'll do whatever I want to live. And it was like,
Like when did I say that?
I didn't know if you realized, but you said that and it shocked me. And usually I cry when I tell people that, but I'm trying to hold it together for you. But But yeah, that was like a wow moment. But it was also a reassuring moment because I knew she wouldn't quit. She was going to fight, and she did.
Something for me, like, it was hard for me, like, being back at school and knowing, like, she was just sitting at home, like, going through all these, like, treatments while her roommates and all her friends at school are, like, still going out, having fun. And it's like, I'm at school, like, I'm a freshman, like, I have my group of friends and I'm always doing things. And I, like, couldn't even imagine, like, how hard that would be for her to, like, watch me, like, living my life in college and her friends doing that and, like, not being able to do that. And something she would say to me quite a few times was like, I just don't feel normal, like I want to feel normal, like nothing about my life right now is like normal. And I think something that I tried to do best was to like kind of make her feel normal. Like I feel like when there's just so many adults in the room, there's nobody really around your age to like have fun with or just chat about like current events with. And I feel like something that I took the most pride in doing was just trying to like make small talk and talk about our friends and like what drama was going on and kind of like, I don't know, just try to make things feel like as normal as possible and show her like she is normal. Like nothing that she went through was like a normal experience, but now like looking back at that, she's like back in her life and I think she like handled everything so incredibly well and I can't even imagine like how it felt. Even though I knew she wasn't feeling good, like you never like think the worst of it, especially like we've always been so healthy our whole lives. Like we were 18, like you're like nothing serious could happen. Like it's literally the last thought in your mind. And when something like that happens, like it really made me like reevaluate everything, honestly, especially it was like her surgery was the day of our birthday. So then I'm looking, trying to post a picture for her birthday and I'm scrolling through all these like baby pictures of us and I'm like, she's literally like been there my entire life. Like I literally don't know anything without her there. And that was like a really scary realization as she's like in major brain surgery for 7 hours on our birthday. And it's just like, the thought like doesn't even like cross your mind, like what do I even do if she's like not here anymore? And that was honestly like really scary to me. It was also hard because you feel like you're supposed to be like in the same walks of life at like the same times. And obviously like we were in really different places all this year and it was hard for me like to be there as much as like I wanted to be while I was like still having to be in school and everything like that. But honestly, I think it definitely made us closer in like different ways. I think our bond has definitely like changed a lot over the past year, although like we were obviously very close before. It's like a whole different relationship when you have to like support somebody going through something like that.
I think it was so beneficial to have such a great support system because I know people who don't, it's difficult, but I feel like I really lucked out because, I mean, Sophia obviously has always been there. And I think it was great, even if I was just at home and all my friends were busy, Sophia would like, she surprised me one month. She came to New York. I think it was just good to have someone who actually would talk, like would always talk to me and always remember. So I think she was really good in like making me feel like I was a 19-year-old too, which was great. And then Dad, he'd even show up to my appointments. I know he was tired because he had long days. He'd like fall asleep on the chairs. I have so many funny photos of him just like passed out. And I like
I've seen the collage.
I'm like, oh, it's like a montage. But I think I had to get my blood drawn like twice a week. Like my chemo and everything. I think it was really supportive to have my family there, even if I know they had a long day, but they would show up. Like my radiation, I know, it was like wait in the waiting room, even though it was like an hour and a half in the morning. So everything was just really great to have a really good support system, especially with Sophia and my dad, yeah.
Thank goodness Robin Roberts told me something that really helped, and that's who Isabella had talked to before when she first told everybody what she was going through. And Robin said, you know, told me this not long ago, you think that when you have cancer, you're gonna wake up every day and think, oh, I have cancer. But she goes, at some point, you just wake up and you just live. You don't even think about it. And that's what I can't wait for her to get to that point when her hair is back and she feels like, oh, I'm back to normal me. And their chemo fog is gone and she's just back to where she feels normal again, that this doesn't even cross her mind. And I think that will be a complete moment of
Yeah.
a moment of completion. But she still has to get scans. She still has to do all those things. And regardless of, they come back clean, thank God so far, you still get nervous.
Yeah.
You're still nervous. But, I think the doctors we have were fantastic and they feel very confident that she's going to be just fine.
I feel like definitely it's changed like my mindset. I really just, if there's an opportunity, I do want to do it. I want to do as much as I can. And I think it shows you how important like family, the people who really support you and to be there for other people. I think that's like one of the main lessons I've like kind of learned through my whole experience. Honestly, just to reach out to people, check how they're doing. If you think of someone, check in on them because you never know. I feel like you have to have a good attitude going into everything. And I feel like that's something, I had a good attitude before, but I feel like now you have to have a really positive like outlook on your future in life. And I think that's important. And just to appreciate those around you because you never know what someone could be going through or the next day could change, and you just want to be kind all the time. And I feel like those are the most important things I have learned.